the hope is that they have to really, don't they, what Liverpool have invested, but time's going to tell on that one. And of course, people, I know you're asking in the chat panel about transfers, what's the latest, so of course we'll get into that. I mean, I know it's a week left, and there's always this caveat of Liverpool can pull it out of nowhere and something might come because they've done it with Araujo and Munoz, of course. But even the Athletic was saying today, it's still 2 wide attackers before next Tuesday's deadline. Minteh and Mbaye mentioned, Barcola, of course, being the top target. It just feels like, even with a week to go and so much we want done, we're just stuck in this winger vortex, aren't we? That feels like it'll just be the end of the window, basically.
Yeah, it feels like that. And it feels like everything we've said on these shows and everything that's been said elsewhere and been written elsewhere has been sort of all leading up to this point where for 6 or 7 weeks now, not much has actually happened. Apart from signing the Ronaldo Araujo and plugging that gap. In terms of the forward line, we've been waiting for updates on Barcola for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And it feels like it's an obvious thing to say, but it's obviously going to ramp up in the next 48 or so hours. It's got to really. So we're in the end game now, and obviously we'll know the results of it within the next 7 days. But I don't know why it's taken so long on both counts, because these could have been done a month ago, to be honest. And as I said at the top of the show, it could come back to bite them, because it's going to take these players, especially, obviously we know Minteh will be injured, but it's going to take Barcola a week or two to get used to Premier League football. It could take him even longer when you look at the people who just spoke about that came last summer. So I think everyone expects Barcola to come in and hit the ground running. That's not guaranteed. So you think if he had a pre-season at the club under his belt learning the new style, then he could have had a better chance to do that. But he's going to come in the last week of the transfer window, and he's going to be, he'll probably be shoved in the deep end and expected to swim. So yeah, I think Liverpool have made a real mess of this window, whatever happens.
Yeah, we're gonna go right to probably the deadline, or very, very late, let's put it that way, for some of these players. We've had the Minteh first bid, 50 million rejected. We've had the Minteh second bid, 60 million rejected. The natural course of action is people are saying 70 million. That's the report Brighton won. Liverpool probably suggestions they'll pitch at 65, and everyone talks a compromise that way. And Foden, to be fair, it has been first and quoted by Romano, Ornstein, all the usual hitters, as it were. We were expecting, based on what he tweeted, a bid or something, maybe even yesterday, but we are just waiting on news on that, but probably expecting a third bid still, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think the case will be they'll try that third bid, and if Brighton don't accept that, then they'll probably have to pivot to other targets, whoever they may be. But it does sound like an agreement is there to be done, and it's an agreement that's there to be easy to be reached. But as I've said before, Brighton are very experienced when it comes to selling players. They've sold about 20 players to Chelsea in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And they know what they're doing, as it says there.
Yeah.
And they know that Liverpool have been absolutely desperate all summer for a winger. So if you're Brighton, you're not going to accept anything less than the 70 million you asked for, probably. But Minteh can't play for 2 months or so anyway, so it's not like it's going to suddenly fix everything. But yeah, it does appear that Liverpool have been weighing up whether to make a bid, and wouldn't be surprised at all if they put that in the next day or so.
So even though he's not going to say be able to play for 2, maybe 3 months, we'll see. And the other winger that's mentioned, Mbaye, is, of course, a rearrangement of the word maybe. I mean, there's been reports for ages, hasn't there? Personal terms agreed, but it's not progressed. Is there almost a feeling with this that it started out at 35 million, because that was the fee, wasn't it? The Leverkusen pretty much agreed, Red Bull the same. Now there's reports that PSG wanted to do it together. It was too expensive. And even figures of 70 million euros mooted. So you're talking around like 60 million quid. So it almost just feels like Liverpool might have been in at 35, but they're definitely not in at 60 million. And that's probably led to the pivot to Minteh, in all honesty.
I think that's bang on. Yeah, I think exactly that. Obviously, Mbaye was linked 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I think the word was that they were just exploring the options, and that was the case at the start of the Minteh pursuit as well. But it feels like money wise, Minteh makes more sense to them. So I think that's what they've decided to do.
Yeah, it feels crazy, but I suppose I know it could always be a name from nowhere, but you've seen the Romano and others reported. We keep hearing if it's not Minteh, it'll be alternates. So you know what the question I'm going to ask you is, well, if it's not Mbaye, are we talking? Do you think is there more names on this list, like Carol and Caroline at the AXA? Like, there's just some random names going to crop up again?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and you wouldn't be surprised. But you look around the names that have been linked all summer, like Minteh was linked at the start of the summer,
Yeah,
but it felt like he came out of nowhere somewhat last week. And then you look at, Fernandez Pardo at Lille was linked at the start of the summer. Looks like he's heading to Newcastle. So that would be funny, wouldn't it, if Liverpool did a little hijack for that? Not saying that's going to happen at all, just saying that's basically what happened with Minteh.
true.
But yeah, let's see. I think that Minteh seems the most likely for that second attacker role right now. But as I said at the start of the podcast, I think I would probably sack that off for now and sign a DM instead. But obviously things, especially the way that Liverpool's transfer gurus work, they don't seem to work in a logical manner like many people would. So you never know. You can't predict them all.
It is just odd, some of it. And I know your colleague Simon Jones at the Mail even said this morning that they're chasing two wingers, Barcola PSG, Minteh of Brighton, the current targets. No breakthrough on fees soon. They will have to consider alternatives, but both players want to join. It's never, there's an excitement for it to people, but it's never a good sign when someone's in front of your club from Sky Sports News. They're all wearing those silly yellow ties or outfits or whatever, but you do kind of get the impression we could be going right down to that deadline with the way Liverpool are working.
Yeah, we could be, but then you look at it and think they could just agree a fee with, let's say they agree a fee with PSG. Barcola could be on the next plane from Paris to Liverpool, and it could all be done within, a matter of 24 hours. So things can move very quickly. It's just this whole Mexican standoff that's been going on for months now, and it's been annoying everyone involved, the fans, the journalists, probably the players, probably the selling clubs as well. Liverpool need to pull a finger out because they are running out of time. And when we say that, we actually mean it this time. But we've been saying it for the last month or so. So I don't know what they're playing at, but they need to get cracking.
People have got weird visions of Yankuba Minteh playing the Peter Odom wingy role and being turned away from the AXA, but we will see how late this goes. And yet, despite the fact we've talked about all this so far, this is still the maddest Liverpool story in terms of transfers for me. We've spoken about Cody Gakpo to Spurs for a long time on this, but you'll have clocked this. And I think when this was reported yesterday, people were a little bit like, yeah, good one. It's a random journalist. But then David Ornstein said it. Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool would already sell Cody Gakpo if they get two wingers in the next 8 days. Spurs verbally agreed to terms with Gakpo since July. Manchester City now in active talks with his agent. I mean, as not the whole fan base, but a general sentiment about feeling over Cody Gakpo. Is it just mental that Spurs and Man City seem in for him?
Yeah, and Liverpool put a 5-year deal on they agreed a 5-year deal with him this time last year. He's only just signed that. So that's indicative to me that these clubs probably rate him maybe a little bit more than a lot of the outside observers do. There's something weird going on at Spurs and City this window. Like Savinho for 85 doesn't. 2 goals in 2 Premier League seasons. I don't know where they've got that from. And City targeting Gakpo. I don't really know what's going on there either. So, and I think they've been linked with Pedro Neto as well, who never really does much for me either. But yeah, it's mental. But if Liverpool get in the two wingers, then I'm sure that things will accelerate on the Gakpo front. But I've never known a club this late in the window to have so much to do. They've got basically the main transfer target of the summer still to sign. They want another winger. They're going to have to sell one winger if that comes in. They've got about 5 or 6 exits that are probably going to have to happen. They still have glaring holes in the squad. There's so much to do, and there's not enough time to do it all, quite frankly.
No, it just feels like we're going to be short. It's how short it ends up is the big question. And we even got clues, I think, on Sunday. I mean, for me, the sun nerve of Liverpool to put a picture of a smiling Harvey Elliott at the AXA this morning, because you guarantee when he was completely left out the squad on Sunday, he was not smiling at all. And that's probably indicative of where his future is going to go, in all honesty.
Yeah, definitely. I think the theme of the summer for me was, or the pre-season tour was, which fringe players can get in front of the manager and take the chance. I was thinking of Elliot, Chiesa, these sorts of people, but really the players that have caught the manager's eye are Trey Irony, Lewis Kumas,
Yeah.
Luke Chambers, James McConnell, these sorts of people. Whereas the more senior players, Elliot, who's been there and done that, won Premier Leagues, technically won a Europa League, and Chiesa, who's very experienced in terms of winning the Euros and playing in Serie A and whatever. They're the ones that are missing out, and these guys who are probably at the start of the window looking at loans to the Championship are now ahead of them. So I don't know what that says about Elliot and Chiesa, but you'd expect both of them to be moved out of the door this week. However, as it stands, I've not seen any reports linking them away. So, you think if you're their agent, you're probably just ringing people saying, any chance of a loan? Because, yeah, Liverpool want them off the wage bill for sure.
Yeah, just feel like they'll just be a last minute someone maybe loan. And Harvey Elliott's obviously only got a year left to go. So that would essentially be the end of his Liverpool career. Someone who has got a year left to go, and we know his Liverpool career is over. Calvin Ramsey's joined St Mirren on loan for the campaign. We've even had reports now from Matteo Moretto that Celta Vigo are set to get Stefan Bajcetic. So you'll be probably pleased to know you'll stop getting questions at the game about Stefan Bajcetic. That will cease. The one I actually wanted to ask you about, Lewis Kumas is on the bench. He comes on and he does well. That energy, the enthusiasm. He seems to really have been a bit of a favourite of Iraola in pre-season. Really wants to have a go because of that energy, that pressing, all those things that he likes. Do you think, especially, I mean, even if it is Minteh who's not going to be able to play till November, is there a chance now that Lewis Kumas could well stick around, even if it's only till January, as a cover option, possibly?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all. I don't think Iraola's the sort to send a message to the board indirectly, but Lewis Kumas coming on in the first Premier League game of the season did to me feel a bit like, come on lads, what are we doing here? Like chop with these signings, because he was playing in the Championship the last 3 seasons and didn't really pull up any trees to suggest he was going to make it at Liverpool. But obviously we've seen things work out weirdly before, and Kumas has now edged himself ahead of Elliott and Chiesa in the pecking order, and fair play to the lad. So don't see any reason why he can't stick around. Obviously there'll be, if there's two signings come in, then I'm sure there'll be a lot of loan interest in him. But as it stands, he looks set to stay, and you could probably say the same about a couple of the other lads as well.
Yeah, it might just be maybe for some of them, there's no actual takers. I know what the answer is to this as soon as I ask you, but based on the chat panel, and people will be annoyed if I don't, are we almost beyond the stage of there's no surprise names? There's no sort of things you're hearing with certain players or Liverpool could be in. Is it just going to be what we know, as in Minteh, Barcola, maybe Mbaye, everything else will be a name from nowhere, as it were?
I think so at this stage, yeah. Like last summer, there was lots of whispers and rumours and stuff. This summer, it's been like Fort Knox getting anything out. So, yeah, it's been a weird summer, but hopefully it'll have the a positive conclusion.
Yeah, which is more hopeful than expectant.